I am Katsuya Nakayama, Managing Executive Officer in charge of IR at Prestige International. I will present an overview of our results for the fiscal year ended March 2021 and our forecast for the current year ending March 2022. Please turn to page 3 of the presentation materials. We show here a snapshot of the consolidated results for the fiscal year ended March 2021. At a high level, frankly speaking, it was a very challenging fiscal year with the ongoing outbreak of COVID-19 and no sense of a recovery. That said, while we did undertake what we considered to be necessary investments, we also maintained strong discipline in controlling expenses on an ongoing basis. As a result, we were able to achieve year-on-year growth for both operating profit and ordinary profit. Please turn to the next slide. This is the summary of our consolidated results for the fiscal year ended March 2021. As shown here, sales declined 1.76 billion yen year-on-year. I will go into more detail later, but in terms of the major segments, we reported a year-on-year drop of 1.191 billion yen in the automotive business and a decline of 1.561 billion yen in the global business for a combined decline of 2.752 billion yen year-on-year. These were the major negative contributors on a year-on-year basis. This was offset by positive contributions from the customer and financial guarantee business, but ultimately overall sales fell year-on-year. However, through a focus on controlling COGS and SG&A, we were able to achieve positive year-on-year growth at the operating profit level. With regard to COGS, we were able to control items like outsourcing costs on operations related to the assistance businesses. We were also disciplined in controlling expenses, benefiting from better efficiencies by reducing overtime expenses and reallocating staff. Nonetheless, net profit attributable to the owners of the parent was lower year-on-year. I will discuss this in more detail on the next page. In terms of the progression of our forecast, we raised our operating profit forecast in Q1 and revised up the ordinary profit forecast in Q2. As a part of the process of revisiting our operating and ordinary income from time to time, we also revised up our net income forecast twice. As of the end of Q2, we guided for 3.4 billion yen in full-year net income. Typically, our net income forecast is linked to the profit forecast, which are based on an internal logic, but there were unusual circumstances in the fiscal year ended March 2021. Declines in the profit contribution of our global business, where the tax burden is relatively light, were offset by the domestic business, leading to a greater than expected increase in the overall tax burden. In addition, we also incurred asset retirement obligations upon the completion of Yamagata BPO Park, which led to an adjustment in corporate taxes. As a result, we acknowledge that we fell short of our full-year guidance. We recognize that there were deficiencies in our review process. Reflecting this, we have moved to a bottom-up approach for our forecast from this fiscal year. With regard to special tax-related factors that could lead our results to diverge from our forecast, we are committed to improving the accuracy of our forecasting process. Next, we show sales broken out by segment. As shown on the slide, automotive reported a decline of 5.7% year-on-year. The business was impacted by the first state of emergency announced during Q1 of the fiscal year ended March 2021, which led to a significant decline in activity. As a result, the number of dispatches in response to car trouble fell sharply. From Q2 onward, there was a gradual sequential recovery. However, although the path toward a return to normal has come into view, on a full-year basis, activity did not reach the levels we had agreed with our clients at the outset. As a result of restrictions on activity, we were unable to achieve the agreed levels, leading to lower volumes. This was a significant factor behind the year-on-year declines. Revenues from the global business fell a significant 25.4% year-on-year. The overseas travel insurance business included in global, a claim agent business, was severely depressed by the reduction of overseas travel from Japan to very low levels. Activity was limited to providing support to Japanese overseas travel policyholders living overseas. Another factor was the BPO business for a credit card issued in the U.S. We provide BPO for an airline mileage-linked credit card. As a result of travel restrictions on domestic U.S. travel, cardholders were relatively less motivated to use the card to accumulate miles, leading to lower card usage. Revenues declined as a result of these factors. I will now discuss segment operating profit. In contrast to revenues, the automotive segment reported year-on-year improvements in operating profit despite the top-line decline. We were able to successfully control costs. Volume was a key contributor. In addition, there was an improvement in the profitability of Premier Assist, the group's field support business, on the back of market share gains. These factors supported the year-on-year gains in segment operating profit. For the global business, operating profits reflected the impact of lower revenues, the result of a major decline in opportunities to generate profits. I would also like to explain the background to the significant volatility we have seen in the social business over the last few years. The social business provided support to children with developmental disabilities. The volatility is the result of previous instances of overbilling for benefits. Other businesses included in the social segment are the operation of women's sports teams we sponsor in regional cities and childcare facilities in the regions where our BPO sites operate. If we exclude the aforementioned special factors, the actual profits generated in this segment were controlled at around negative 0.2 billion yen. With regard to the support business for developmentally challenged children, we have not fully refunded the excess benefits yet, so we expect there will be some activity related to this in the current fiscal year. If we exclude the expected repayment, this segment should report an operating loss of 227 million yen in the fiscal year ending March 2022. I will now comment briefly on the results at each of our segments. As noted earlier, while the automotive business reported a drop in revenues, we were able to properly lock in profits. We were able to generate a high operating profit margin of 14.7%, supported by the contribution from Road Assist. For the property business, the sales trend in the Park Assist business was weaker, particularly in the regions on lower activity levels. However, this was offset by the firm performance of the Home Assist business. As a result, we were able to grow sales year-on-year. Profits fell year-on-year, but this is the result of growth investments. We undertook renovations to increase our capacity, mainly at Uonuma, as well as investing in core systems. I will talk about this in more detail later when we discuss our forecasts. I have already discussed the situation at the global business. Sales were depressed by the impact of COVID-19 on overseas travel insurance and lower usage levels for our U.S.-based credit card business. Credit card usage levels declined to around 60% of the previous fiscal year's level. The membership-based healthcare program we offer to expats from Japan was down around 10% versus the previous fiscal year. The drop reflected the impact of the repatriation of expat family members to Japan and a decline in hospital visits during the pandemic. Please turn to page 9. The customer segment was largely unaffected by the pandemic. The existing business was generally firm. We also saw a recovery in the profitability of projects that had been unprofitable in the previous fiscal year. As a result, both sales and profits grew year-on-year, contributing to the overall March 2021 results. Although we had been slightly concerned about a potential impact from COVID-19, Group Company Entrust's financial guarantee business was unaffected, reporting a firm performance for the fiscal year under review. The IT business posted year-on-year declines in both revenues and profits, but this was a reflection of a high base for comparison on a high level of certifications in the previous fiscal year. Business was firm in the fiscal year ended March 2021. I have already discussed the social business. Next, I will discuss the financial situation. Despite the highly uncertain operating environment as a result of the pandemic, We were able to maintain financial soundness. The decline in current assets reflects the allocation of profits to growth investments in tangible assets, as you can see here. Our financial situation remains robust, with the equity ratio at around 70% as of the end of March 2021. Next, turning to cash flow. Cash flow from investing activities in the year under review was an outflow of 4.137 billion yen. As you can see from the bar chart, this was the biggest investing outflow over the last 5 years. If we look further back, cash flow for investing activities was 2.751 billion yen for the construction of the Toyama BPO in March 2015. From this perspective, the March 2021 level is the highest investing cash flow we have reported since then. However, we were able to offset this with operating cash flow, resulting in a positive free cash flow. We plan to allocate free cash flow toward the fiscal year-end dividend. We raised our guidance for the second half to 3.5 yen per share, compared to the interim dividend per share of 3 yen. Next, I will talk about our non-financial metrics. The level of activity for each of our BPOs is as shown here. In the fiscal year ended March 2021, we increased capacity at Yamagata BPO Park by 500 seats. In addition, we undertook renovations at Uonuma, increasing the number of seats from 80 to 260, an increase of 180 seats. We have increased capacity with a view to capturing more orders going forward. With regard to capacity in this fiscal year and beyond, we plan to increase the number of seats at Nikaho from the 300 shown here to 500 by the end of March 2022, an increase of 200 seats. In addition, in conjunction with our plan to build new capacity in Ichinoseki, we will start operations with 180 seats. The increased capacity will be used to win more business. This slide shows the number of field service dispatches. As noted earlier, there was a decline in road assist dispatches in Q1, and the subsequent pace of recovery has been slow, resulting in year-on-year growth of 3.2%. At the beginning of the previous fiscal year, we had a major client win and had hoped to see a higher level of growth, but growth was capped by pandemic-related restrictions. The home assist business entails physical site visits, so this business was also impacted in Q1 by the pandemic. However, from Q2 onward for the remainder of the fiscal year, activity levels picked up. With regard to Park Assist, I touched briefly on the fact that operating conditions, particularly in the regions, were suboptimal. However, for the territories covered by this service, we still did our rounds and collected revenue. As such, we were able to generate some growth in dispatches. This slide shows our share of field service dispatches. Although there was limited growth in total road assist dispatches given the operating environment, we were able to increase the share for Premier Assist. For Home Assist, field service dispatches to condominiums increased significantly to 22%. We also stepped up activity levels for Premier Assist, but were unable to match this growth, which led to a decline in our share. Our share in Park Assist remained largely unchanged. I will now talk about the forecast for the fiscal year ending March 2022. At the outset, we note that we have made changes to our accounting treatment for the recognition of profits applicable from the fiscal year ending March 2022. The changes apply to the timing of recognition for some of the revenues generated in the automotive, customer, and financial guarantee businesses. We will retroactively adjust our figures for the March 2021 fiscal year, but the quantitative impact is limited. As such, we believe the comparison of our full-year forecast to the unadjusted March 2021 figures do not pose a challenge in terms of understanding the overall trends in our business. This slide shows the year-on-year comparisons for our forecast for sales and the key profit levels. This slide shows the segment forecasts. The automotive business generated a very high margin in the March 2021 fiscal year, resulting in a high base for comparison. Last fiscal year, we held back on investments, but in March 2022, we will be executing on growth investments to respond to the needs of major clients, as well as enhancing field service. For the property business, profits fell year-on-year in March 2021, but in this fiscal year, we expect to reap the benefits of growth investments made in March 2021. For the global business as well, we expect operating income to recover. However, it is still less than half the level of the 947 million yen level generated in the fiscal year ended March 2020. We believe March 2021 will have been the bottom for profits in this business and are aiming to put this business on a recovery path. For the customer and financial guarantee businesses, we expect to see continued firm trends. For the social business, we are expecting a narrowing of the operating losses on the winding up of the ongoing repayments. This is the forecast for CapEx. Earlier, I mentioned that we had undertaken significant CapEx last fiscal year. The main investment for this fiscal year is the 2 billion yen investment for expansion at the Nikaho BPO campus in Akita Prefecture. We will also be making investments to enhance field service for road assist and home assist, as well as continuing our investments in IT. Given the completion of the expansion at the Yamagata BPO in March, there will be an increase in depreciation of around 100 million yen this fiscal year. Next, turning to our dividend per share guidance. Based on our forecasts and the resulting expected free cash flow, after taking into account planned investments, we are guiding for interim and fiscal year-end dividends of 4 yen each, based on a dividend payout ratio of 30%. This completes my section of the presentation. We will now hand over to CEO Shinichi Tamagami for a discussion of the medium-term plan. I am CEO Tamagami. I will explain our new medium-term plan, which covers the 3-year period between the fiscal years ending March 2022 and March 2024. First, with regard to growth over the next 3 years, I believe it is fair to say that we expect to see a significant expansion in the scale of our businesses compared to the last 3 or even 5 years. This reflects our customers' understanding of the value of our services. In my view, this is the single biggest factor behind the steady increase in the number of customers in each market we serve. In terms of the growth we expect to achieve over the next 3 years, the basic strategy remains unchanged. It is an extrapolation of our strategy to date. That said, what is clear and has been clear from the past is that from a supply-demand perspective, demand has consistently outstripped supply. Based on a firm understanding of this point, we continue to be focused on solidly growing our business by meticulously developing plans to expand our sites. We aim to be even more disciplined in our approach going forward. This fiscal year, we expanded at Yamagata with 500 more seats. In the fiscal year ending March 2023, capacity at Nikaho will be increased by 500 seats. Construction for each of these projects has or will complete in the final month of the previous fiscal year. Capacity will increase by 500 seats each in both March 2022 and March 2023. In addition, in the final fiscal year of the current medium-term plan, March 2024, we have already decided to add 500 seats at Ichinoseki. As such, plans are in place to construct 500 new seats for the 2 years of March 2023 and March 2024. As well, we aim to make an investment decision during the March 2022 fiscal year for a new site to be completed in March 2026. We are also aiming to make an investment decision in March 2024 for yet another new site to be completed in March 2028. During the current medium-term plan, we therefore aim to formulate plans for investments for an additional 1,000 seats. For us, the value of our sites as attractive working spaces for our employees enhances our ability to hire and retain talent over the long term, and our sites allow us to solidly meet demand. Furthermore, we hold a dominant position in the assistance businesses in areas such as automotive or home. Within the industries we serve, such as real estate development or real estate management, non-life insurance, auto manufacturing, and others, we hold high market shares. This is a reflection of the track record of creating value for our customers that we have been able to maintain over a long period of time. In addition, I believe our customers value highly our vertically integrated approach, where the process of responding to inquiries through to the actual execution of services is handled in-house. On our strengths, obviously, one strength that is highly rated by our customers is our ability to attract and retain superior human resources over the long term. Our focus on ensuring that employees are able to build up experience and expertise and are able to provide a high level of service quality to our customers based on a strong spirit of hospitality. Over time, our capability in this area has continued to improve. As well, our customer-centric approach has meant we have focused on solidly responding to our customers' needs as they have evolved over time. As a consequence of this approach, we have been able to build up businesses that contribute to a highly stable business model, which has allowed us to grow, supported by high profitability and management efficiency. With regard to our long-term vision and the medium-term business plan, the basic outlines of our medium-term strategy remains unchanged. However, as a result of the COVID-19 outbreak, society is in the midst of significant change. Even after the pandemic subsides, I do not believe that the world will completely go back to the way it was before. We must focus on anticipating how the markets will change going forward. While leveraging and maximizing our key strength, which is the human skills and spirit of hospitality we bring to bear in our services, we must also enhance our IT capabilities to improve the efficiency and speed of delivery of our services. Our focus in this medium-term plan is to further strengthen such capabilities. Moving now to page 31. We recognize that even if we are able to provide very good services, if the cost is too high, the service inefficient, or a response not swift enough, our customers' assessment of our services will deteriorate. Over the next 3-year period, the key will be bolstering our primary strength, the high quality of the human element of our services, to improve efficiency, service quality, and speed of response. We must also be able to provide our customers with the desired output in a timely manner. My aim is to ensure that we can properly package and enhance our services. That said, our top priority will continue to be to focus on providing services with a real human touch. I would now like to discuss our individual businesses. I will start with automotive. This is our mainstay business. The industries we serve are the non-life insurance companies, auto manufacturers, auto dealer networks, and the auto lease companies. Despite the fact that each of these industries are very large, we have been able to establish our position in these diverse markets. Regardless of the myriad anticipated changes in the auto ecosystem, such as the migration away from gasoline-powered internal combustion engines to EVs, I believe our customers will continue to place value on autos as a means of transportation. From this perspective, it will be necessary to think about how to ensure safety and a sense of security when traveling in a car. Furthermore, despite various measures, by nature, cars are subject to breakdowns and accidents, so creating services that ease associated burdens on our customers is also important. This will be our key focus. From this standpoint, we aim to capitalize on IT tools to improve response and system capabilities, as well as accelerating service delivery by leveraging the data generated by a variety of auto-related services. Such efforts to strengthen our service quality can also take the form of collaborations with car makers. Recently, road rage and tailgating have increasingly become an issue, which has led to a significant increase in take-up of dash cams and drive recorders. Over the last 12 to 18 months, we have put into place a framework where we receive alerts when an accident occurs, allowing us to respond swiftly. Non-life insurers are now focused on selling voluntary auto insurance products that incorporate the use of a telematics unit. Our services are included in such products. This is a new service line for us. In addition to this, the potential in auto-related services is not limited to just responding to breakdowns. Going forward, we would like to also win businesses in the expanding opportunity around accident response services. Accident response obviously has many service elements in common with road service, such as offering on-site support, transporting the damaged vehicle, and handling local arrangements. As such, we aim to tap into this new opportunity, packaging accident response with our road services. There has been an increase in customers' needs for such services. Effectively, we are already offering the combined package of accident response and road service to insurance companies from the Toyama BPO. This is developing into a relatively large operation. Accident response services also create opportunities to expand into adjacencies such as home and personal injury coverage. Accident response services require strong capabilities in dealing with policyholders, a deep understanding of insurance, and the ability to explain policy coverage details. We pride ourselves on the high level of knowledge and experience we have developed. Given this, I believe the potential for winning more business with non-life insurers in the auto accident response is very good. Over the next 3 years, we will continue to strengthen our field service capability, particularly for automotive. The market for non-life insurer road service is verging on saturation, but if we can combine road service with accident response, then I believe there is still room for growth given our relatively lower share for non-road services. To do so, I am committed to enhancing our capability as it will allow us to propose vertically integrated services with confidence. I recognize that it has been challenging to accelerate the expansion of this capability in-house. We plan to also expand the franchisee network and develop relationships with recommended partners. The next segment I would like to talk about is the property or home-related segment. Demand for such services remains very strong. We have made progress on tie-ups with major companies. In particular, there is very strong demand for plumbing-related or electrical services in the Greater Tokyo area. The capabilities of our field service teams in this area are rated highly. Our strategy is to significantly expand our field service organization. We will continue to make advanced investments in our field service teams based on rigorous planning, including increases to headcount. In addition to this, we have seen a strong increase in support requests for issues related to homes in central urban locations, particularly for single senior households. In many cases, these seniors have pets. Pet support is another potential area of demand in terms of home assist services. We are in the process of building a foundation for pet assist services with a view to expanding in this area during the current fiscal year. With the pet industry, pet insurance is an opportunity where there is a need to respond to incident reports, undertake assessments, and pay claims. We already have significant experience developed through our overseas travel insurance business, which I believe can be leveraged in this business as we pursue opportunities with the pet insurance industry. For our overseas services, last fiscal year was a very tough year. Japanese expats living abroad were subject to restrictions on activity. As alluded to earlier by Mr. Nakayama, there were instances where it wasn't even possible to seek medical treatment in hospitals because of the pandemic. Some people were fearful of going to hospitals given potential risks. This significantly limited the use of our services. That said, there were many elements of our service that expats and their families relied on heavily during the pandemic. Although the outbreak has persisted much longer than initially expected with waves of infection, we have found that many of our end users found our services indispensable as a reliable source of information. We fielded many questions from Japanese expats located in many different countries around the world. From this perspective, while we had limited our sales activity to Japan to date, we have actually had a number of major corporates signing contracts with our local staff in various countries. In India, which has recently seen a surge in new infections, we have seen public authorities signing up for our services. I believe our global services are contributing to a sense of safety and security for Japanese people living abroad, particularly with the healthcare program. Despite the challenging environment, we remain committed to maintaining our presence and providing services around the world. I expect the situation to remain tough until September, but as progress is made on vaccinations, starting with advanced nations, I would expect activity levels to gradually pick up. We will continue to enhance our capabilities in anticipation of this. The next segment I will discuss is customer. This segment includes the call center and business processing operations. We will continue to focus on enhancing the attractiveness of our sites. When they visit our sites, our customers are very impressed with the working environment, the high level of employee training, and the organizational structure. This gives them a great sense of comfort in dealing with us. Recently, we have seen an increase in contracts with major corporates. Given this, we aim to clearly disclose our plans for expanding our sites, including expected timeframe, to lock in demand. Next, please turn to page 41 for a discussion of the financial guarantee business. This is primarily the business of our group subsidiary and trust. Ongoing shelter-in-place requests from the authorities are supporting stable growth in rent guarantees. Unfortunately, in the medical business, severe restrictions on visiting hospitals have now been in place over the last year, impacting our ability to achieve our targets in new customer acquisition and putting us behind plan. However, we see great potential for the financial guarantee business, so as the situation gradually improves, we remain focused on developing and improving operations for the medical expense guarantee, nursing care expense guarantee, and child support payout guarantee programs. With regard to the IT segment, by nature, this is a supplementary business. IT capabilities are indispensable to our ability to swiftly provide high-quality value to our customers. In terms of efficiency, there are many cases where our customers have customized systems which they develop independently. But with this capability, we are able to free our customers from the hassle of IT development. Our aim is to include IT services as a part of the services we offer to our customers. Strategically, we are positioning the Ichinoseki BPO, slated for completion in March 2024, as the core base for the R&D functionality within the IT segment. At a minimum, we aim to establish this as the global base for operating and managing the IT business and expect to enjoy better efficiencies. The last 3 years have been very tough for the social segment. We sincerely regret the past issues and have strived to learn from the experience. We remain focused on ensuring that the business can be properly wound down and will take full responsibility with regard to both the users and municipal authorities to complete the process. The process should be virtually completed during Q1 of the current fiscal year. In terms of our initiatives to revitalize regional communities, we view our regional sites as joint ventures where we are partnered with municipal authorities. Our aim is to provide employment to skilled local individuals and to work with authorities to revitalize these communities. By supporting women in the workforce, we are also revitalizing the local labor markets as well. From this perspective, we aim to contribute significantly to employment in our communities through our sports program, Aran Mare, and our childcare business, Orangerie. On regional revitalization and ESG, we show the virtual cycle we aim to create, starting with the creation and maintenance of jobs and the creation of workplaces. We aim to develop a sustainable environment to give back to the regional communities where we operate. This cycle does not work in the absence of any of the elements we show here. If it becomes increasingly challenging to live in a community because of a lack of facilities or jobs, people have no choice but to go elsewhere. To ensure that this does not happen, we work together with municipal authorities to create communities where people can live and work comfortably with a sense of security and where they feel there are many opportunities. Creating new sites enables us to contribute to this cycle. We remain committed to continuing to develop our network of sites. There is still much that must be done to enhance ESG. With regard to environment, social, and governance, we are revisiting our initiatives with a view to ensuring that we can enhance our corporate value in a way that benefits all of our stakeholders. Alongside regional authorities, we will work to revitalize regional communities, which will improve our corporate value for all of our stakeholders. This is our aim in continuing to develop and expand our business. Finally, I will discuss our financial targets for the next 3 fiscal years. We are confident we can grow our business. Once the pandemic subsides, we believe new needs will emerge. We want to make advanced investments in order to be prepared for these opportunities as they arise. Our strategy is to lock in growth. Over this 3-year period, we aim to achieve revenue growth of around 30% in the final March 2024 fiscal year. We are similarly aiming for growth of slightly less than 30% at the profit level as well over the same period. We are firmly committed to achieving this plan. This completes my presentation. Thank you.